Hey there, and welcome back to Stillwater Homestead. Sorry, you probably hear little kittens in the background, and also some kids riding on their. He calls this his um, chicken chicken tractor, but then sometimes he calls it a jeep, and then other times it's just whatever. Um, and then also, oh my gosh, look at our new little baby kitten. Oh my goodness, that one's Forest, and that one's Ocean. A little boy named them. You guys are so cute. Unfortunately, I cannot touch them right now because I had to put flea treatment on them because I've got fleas. Also, so does Oaken. All right. So today, the plan, the goal, the hope is to do a bunch of harvesting. I've literally been putting this off like day after day. What's he talking about? What kind of shoes is Rima wearing? They're they're water shoes. Oh my gosh. Uh, you're gonna see a little girl. She's got blonde hair. Her name is Selah. She's my pastor's daughter. She's spending the night tonight because we're bonding.
Hello.
Look at Reba. Those are her water shoes because you guys like to step in the pool when you don't have the right shoes on. Go ahead. Go drive.
There's no room back here. Forget about it.
Forget about it.
Forget it.
Bye. Well, they're supposed to be my helpers today, but we'll see if they come and help. Salem's pretty good actually at helping me harvest some stuff. So I've got a bunch. This is my goal. I've got a bunch of herbs. I've got a bunch of herbs that I need to harvest. I've got some kale. I've got tomatillos. Holy cannoli. I've got a bunch of tomatillos. What else do I have? Some tomatoes. I think I have some squash that's ready that I can take in. I already picked some, but I literally am like, have been putting this off and putting this off because this, like, the grass, I gave up weed whacking. It's literally like every 3 days I was having to weed whack. And so, because of that, I have not harvested anything because I'm afraid I'm going to step on a snake or something, but I kind of have to get over it because everything's starting to get brown. But next year, hold on, let me go grab my scissors real quick because I forgot those. Let's see. Also, I cannot wait. I'm building a greenhouse probably in September. I'm going to be building a greenhouse and a little shed next to it. It's just going to be a kit. I was going to build one that was like, well, just don't lose it. I was going to build one that was not a kit and like cut all the pieces myself and stuff, but I think I came to my senses and I'm like, I'm just going to buy a kit. I've heard some reviews. And there's a crying baby. She okay? Crisis averted. she just she's a wild man. Not a man. She's a wild monkey is what I meant to say. So she tends to get hurt pretty often. My hope is that one of those children will come and help me. Salem! Salem! No, they're having too much fun. And that's fine. I really was hoping maybe they'll come because he does like to help me cut stuff. So let's see, where should I begin? There's a bunch of tomatillos right here. This is where I'll begin. See this bush? That's it needs harvested. And I really want to start ripping stuff out because I've got plans for this space for this next coming year, but I need to start on it now because why not? All right. Okay. I'm super excited to be using one of these. I feel like I'm an official gardener, even though I've been gardening for 7 years now. I feel official because I have one of these baskets. I just got one. Okay, let's see. I'm also gonna pick some of this cabbage. Was that lightning? Oh my gosh, I think it just lightninged. And this is what I was gonna try to beat today. I don't, it might rain and I might get rained out, but that's all right. I'll just have to work fast. All right. So I think what I'm going to try to multitask here. I am going to share a little bit of who I am, my testimony a little bit, and how I kind of came to the gardening slash wanting to homestead scene. Side note, it was before COVID, so I just had to throw that in there. It was before all this hype. I was wanting to do this 2 years before COVID, but we couldn't afford it, and we were not even, or we were freshly married, and so we were broke and all that fun stuff, living in a teeny tiny apartment. Um, so yeah, dang it, there's literally nothing that I can harvest right here. Son of a biscuit. All right, let's move on. I'm gonna try to find a different spot. Okay, so there are some tomatoes. Brad's Atomic Cherry tomatoes. Got a bunch of these that I can get. So let me go ahead and start doing this. So, anyways, I think, no, yeah, I want to share a little bit about who I am and all of that fun stuff. So I will kind of start in, um, do I want to start all the way back? No, I'll just start in like 2018. So, or actually, I'll start before Logan and I met. We had met at, um, we had both felt called to go to a ministry school in Northern California. I will say it was the discipleship school. It wasn't the main school. So if you know, then you know what I'm talking about. But I don't think I'm allowed to name any names, so I'm not going to do that. So yeah, we both felt called. We didn't know each other. He's from Nebraska. I am from originally Ohio, but I was already living out in California. So long story short, yeah, we just both, Logan and I both ended up in Northern California, and that's where we met. Basically, almost immediately, we both knew, even though he was dating somebody at the time. And I wasn't dating anybody, but I just knew, like we both knew, like, yep, that's the one, and it was a pretty awesome story. Maybe I'll go into more detail about that, or have Logan come on and tell the story because I love when he tells the story. But so that was basically how we met, and we kind of just yeah, we were always together. We were just really good friends, and then we got engaged, and in our engagement, we ended up moving back to Nebraska, which was my idea actually, because I wanted to see Nebraska and see where he lived and all that stuff. And we had moved in. I'd lived in his parents' basement. He had lived like in his old bedroom in their house until closer to the wedding, and kind of within that small amount of time, that's when I really started like looking at gardening. So we had moved back to Nebraska in August, and then we got married the next May, and we'd lived with his parents the whole time. My background is in cosmetology, so this rustic like dirty life wasn't necessarily me, but also I wasn't afraid of dirt, if that makes any sense. So I wasn't like stay away from dirt, but it just wasn't something that really interested me. But within the time of living in his parents' house, I had actually met one of my closest friends. She now lives in Australia. She is the one who actually introduced me to gardening. She is the one who, like, in her small little house, they had a garden, and I was just, for some reason, I just was so amazed by the small, I think it was like two little garden beds, but I was just so obsessed with it. Every time that we would go over there for life group, I just remember being so in love with it. And so I started asking her all the questions, and we just started kind of clicking on the gardening, um, on the gardening scene. And so then after we had gotten married, Logan and I, in May, so come around to the next summer, we were living in the smallest apartment. I'll actually try to find some pictures of our first apartment. Loved that little place. It was kind of in the ghetto, but who cares? Uh, um, so we had gotten two raised garden beds. Didn't even know if I was allowed to have raised garden beds because it was like we were on the bottom floor and it was a patio, and where our patio was like right where the front door was. Let it take now. Right where like the door was to the building, and so like everyone would see the garden, and so I didn't know if I was even allowed to have a garden or have any of the things that I did, but I put it up anyways. And actually, I was really like, I was blown away. So many people, including the like manager of the apartment building, was like, yes, do it. So I'm like, okay, cool. So that is where I had my very first garden, and it was so fun. It was so awesome. I remember growing spinach, Malabar spinach, another kind of spinach, cucumbers, tomatoes, and I think watermelon in like the smallest little garden bed. And I was just so in love. I'd started a bunch of seeds inside in our teeny tiny little apartment, and I had like this, so ghetto. I had like a garbage bag over a shelf with a heater underneath of it, so it was like a greenhouse inside so that I could start my seeds. And it was just wonderful. I remember I tagged Jess from Roots and Refuge Farm. She's also so it's Beck, my friend from Australia, and then Jess from Roots and Refuge. Those are the two main people that are like, this is the reason why I'm doing this, kind of. And it's wonderful. It's so great. Shout out to Roots and Refuge. You guys literally, I've been following you from the get, and I'm just so grateful. So grateful. Like, even in those small garden times in the apartments and in our teeny tiny house, literally like watching those videos had really kept the hope like stirred up inside of me. That and the Lord, obviously, but they're Christians, so it was like all like lined up together. So it was a really beautiful time. I actually kind of miss. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, it's a teeny tiny little tick. Teeny tiny. That is a deer tick, I'm pretty sure. Sorry. Ticks freak me out so much. Um, so yeah, that is kind of like, no, that's definitely the beginning of my gardening adventures, and it just kind of like really slowly built into wanting to like have a full-blown homestead with animals and with like the sourdough, which I'm happily making again, and with like all of that traditional kind of living, and also like the not needing to rely on the grocery store, because just like everyone's already said, as we saw during COVID, and then I think about like the Great Depression and all of these like big catastrophic events that had happened, We're so reliable on the grocery store. We so much rely and need the grocery store. And I'm just like, I don't need that drama in my life. I don't want to worry about that. I don't want to have to worry about food. So I honestly, truly feel like the Lord has put it in not just my heart, but in so many people's hearts to really start to think like, um, this is, in my opinion, not theologically. I'm not saying that this is theologically correct, but this is just like something that's stirred up inside of me, is to steward the land and like to steward and to grow our own food is us learning to rely on Him rather than the grocery store, especially if you are like gardening along with him and inviting him into all of your decisions and all of that stuff. So yeah, that is a really big, everything's really big. I tend to say that a lot. That's, yeah, that I just really want to steward the land well, and I really want to be able to have food security. And also I love it, like I love sitting at our kitchen um table and just watching like all the butterflies and all the, we have so many hummingbirds, it's amazing. And just watching like everything grow. And I even love like the fall, and I love watching things die. And in the winter when everything is already dead, I just think all of the seasons are so just gorgeous. It's so awesome. It's so like cyclical and so stable, and that's the way that the Lord created it. And I just think that being a gardener and being like always outside and always in nature really tends to connect not just me. I just know it tends to connect people back to the creator, back to our God. And so yeah, it just seemed like he like slowly had us on this path to homesteading. Really, mainly gardening was the is the very first thing. And I will always garden even if I don't have animals. I will always be a gardener. It just fills me up so much with so much joy and so much yeah, just so much peace and so much hard work. It feels like alongside of being a stay-at-home mom, which is so difficult, it is like gardening is you have to have strength. You have to be pretty strong to work out in the hot sun. And where's Rayma? I should probably go find my baby. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just am so grateful for this opportunity and for the Lord to really put it on my heart and to put it on my husband's heart to support me in this, because he's not necessarily an outdoorsy gardening kind of person, but that's all right. We balance each other out, I will say. Um, yeah, I've got some more harvesting to do. Let me go find my baby. Hold on.
Anywhere you go, anywhere you go, you belong. Anywhere you say, anywhere.
No, we're gonna go harvest.
I don't want to harvest.
Can you please just help me a little bit? Look at how easy these beans are to get. They're so close. Look at all these beans. I know, look at them all. Okay.
But why are those tomatoes?
Because I put tomatoes in there. I harvested a bunch of tomatoes.
I want to see a bean, Mom. Are they green beans?
Mm-hmm.
I want to pick some.
That's okay. Go ahead, pick some. Come around on this side. Look at all, yeah. Look at all of these beans. You see them all?
Everything I
All right. Well, while I have a little bit of some quiet, I think I should also explain how we ended up in Asheville. Um, so basically, while we were in Nebraska, we were going to a church. A lot of people might know of it, Antioch. They're based in Waco, Texas. It's Jimmy Seibert is the lead pastor. Um, so we were going to that church in Omaha. Waypoint is what it was called, and we loved it. We love Antioch. We love everything that they stand for. They're very balanced view. They're filled with the Holy Spirit, but also very very balanced with the Bible too. Um, so it's huh. I'm I'm telling a story. I'm saying of how we ended up here in Asheville. Are you gonna come help? There's really tall ones up there. Some beans over here on this pole. That would be very nice. But no, I'd rather you help me come grab some of these beans. Poot! The corn? It won't be ready for. Actually, it might almost be ready. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So we were going to Waypoint in Omaha, Nebraska, and Antioch is a church planting network of churches. So typically we plant around the world. There's like a bunch of Antiochs like all over the world. And then a couple years ago they started like really focusing on the US and planting churches in the US. And so Logan and I always knew that we weren't going to stay in Omaha, but we weren't sure exactly where it was that we were going to go. We thought first Colorado, we thought maybe Georgia for a little bit, and then when we came to visit Georgia for our wedding, we came kind of with the intention of, is this where we want to live? And then also we came to visit North Carolina, and so we visited, um, what's it called? Durham, Raleigh, like the Raleigh area, and we loved it. And then we came to Asheville for a day, and we loved it even more. But at that time, Logan wasn't doing the job that he had, so we like it was almost like we were just visiting, and we were super broke. So there was no way that we were going to be able to afford it. So yeah, we came, loved it. We were like, yes, Lord, please open the door. And then we left it at that. And then what was it, 2 years later, right? Yeah, I think it was like 2 years later. Yeah, because I was pregnant with Salem when we came to visit, and then it wasn't until he was almost two. They announced, so when I say they, Antioch had announced that there was actually going to be church plant in Asheville. And this was after what? That's okay. I didn't put anything on him. Um, they Antioch had announced that there was going to be a church plant in Asheville, and Logan and I almost immediately like started looking at Zillow listings because we're like, this is what we're supposed to do. Also, between that 2 years, he had started doing remote work from home, which is production accounting, and that like helped our bank account so much, and it really made like things feel like, yeah, you definitely, this is definitely like affordable, like what we would be able to afford to move to Asheville. So it literally was like all back to back to back to back to back. And then there was some other kind of dramatic things within that, as far as like, should we stay, should we go, should we stay, should we go kind of thing. Yeah, you can use those. Why? That's okay. I think it's gonna taste perfectly fine. So where was I? Um, Gosh, I love tomatillos. I love when the tomatillos are like bursting through the husk like that, because that's when you're supposed to pick them, is when they're bursting through. I just love it. Um, so we moved. Yep, we moved. We heard about it maybe 6 months before. No, it was like 9 months before we moved. A year. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's true. So yeah, that's how we ended up in Asheville. We helped start a church in Asheville, and we are still part of that church. Still a part of that community, and we really love it. I think we are really. I'm not going to speak for Logan. I don't like. I don't like to do that, but um, I am really thoroughly enjoying our chapter in North Carolina, and it's very refreshing. It's very much what I feel like we were called to do, especially in the season of having kids and even just financially. Like it just honestly all feels like it lined up so beautifully. And I think that's one of the most wonderful things about following the Lord is like you can give him all of that recognition. Like, um, because I know people, like, I know things happen, and I know people are just like, yeah, wow, this happened, this happened, this happened. But if, like, you're not a believer, then it's almost like people kind of think of it as a coincidence where we're in the mindset of, nope, the Lord definitely, he sets things up for us. And like our move here definitely feels like he did that for us, and it was so kind of him to do. And even within that, there's so much like really cool things that are happening that I can't wait to share along the way of what's been happening, even the hard times of living here. Yeah, I can't wait to share all of that stuff along the way. Hopefully, I remember to do that. Okay, so obviously it's the next day. I am so sorry. It's just so spotty, but my phone died in the middle of me talking, so here we are. And it is the next day. I have kids, and we had a sleepover last night, so it just got super distracting. Anywho, I am just so thankful for you watching my channel, and I hope to see you again. Like and subscribe. Uh, Smash that share button or whatever it is. Smash that like button or the subscribe button. Smash all the buttons. I post new videos every Friday, and yeah, I really hope that you decide to join me. Keep on joining me. See ya!